Hello everyone, wanted to do another tutorial on my Minelab Manticore, and it'll probably be the last one for a little while. So I've done like a beginner setting, I've done an intermediate setting, and I've done a settings for really trashy grounds. Now I've had the machine for a good 6-7 months now. I feel like I'm ready to take on our next step now and really maximise what this machine is all about. Now bearing in mind these settings will not be suitable for all terrain, so for example, if you're on really trashy sites, or even if it's a little bit mineralized or a little bit too junky, then these settings might not be the settings that you need. And that's the beauty with the Minelab Manticore. They're very customizable. So this sort of advanced settings that we're going to go through today, which is called the next level settings, the next level Manticore settings, will really just enhance those tiny little deep hammers, better punch in and get a little bit more on good terrain, good, nice, clean terrain. You can have a bit of junk in there, and that'll be fine. So, yeah, what we'll do is go through the settings in a moment. Before we go for that, sort of the sweet spot, when I go onto a permission, and I know it's relatively clean, I want to punch a bit deeper, I'll sort of normally go for the happy medium. I'll put in my 11-inch coil, and that's what these settings are designed to go with. I put in my 9-inch coil if I want that better separation, and you can sort of really pick in between the targets really nicely with a 9-inch coil. So yeah, these settings are what I use to go with my 9-inch coil, on my 11-inch coil, sorry, on relatively clean ground. So yeah, hope you enjoy the settings. What I'll do, I'll like pull them in, and then I'll try and talk about like each one as we go. So it won't just be like this are the settings, bang, done in like 5 minutes. I'll try and just give my sort of context of what I've learned from looking at the manual and sort of what I picked up from user experience as well, because they're like two different unique things. And then on massive sweeping changes, obviously like the programs that the Minelab engineers have put in place anyway are outstanding. And you know what, guys, if you go out to a clean pasture land and you use these settings, you don't feel like they're right for you, pressing all the power button for 7 seconds, reset it, go again with what you're used to. So you've got nothing to lose. One thing I will say is like to step out of the comfort zone. My advice on the previous lesson was like beginner setting, stick to factory setting, only tweak sensitivity and recovery, and the normal things like volume and stuff. Then after a few months, then you want to start playing with this, so don't just get fixed into one way. Anyway, that's like enough waffle for myself now. Hope you enjoy this settings, and hope it helps you find some deeper stuff that is just sitting on that border to better punch through a little bit deeper, to really maximise the Minelab Manticore, because it is an outstanding, phenomenal machine. So yeah, enjoy, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the over shoulder shot. Okay, so let's go straight into the next level Manticore settings to get a little bit more performance out of the machine. So volume, always have that on full whack. I'll leave it on 0 though, just for the purpose of this sort of lesson as we go through, otherwise it'll just be too chattery. Also bear in mind the headphones have like a different settings as well, so make sure your volume's turned up on that and the headphones to make sure you get most out of the machine. Now, search modes, I always find that all-terrain general, you get the most out of the machine. It's got really good balanced performance. It's really good in a wide range of soils as well. And there's no bias towards high conductors or low conductors. So it'll be just as good as picking up those low conductors, those tiny little hammers, as what it will be as picking up those big silvers. So really, it's like a great balance for the search modes for all terrain general. It's also super adaptable, suitable in all terrains. Definitely start in general, then sort of making advanced tweaks on this. So that's a good thing. You can take this mode, which is a great balanced mode, the all terrain general, and then make tweaks then to sharpen up the recovery and sensitivity. So yeah, noise cancel on every sort of whenever you go on any new fields. Loads of tutorials out there and explains how to do it pretty easy on the manual and on loads of YouTube footage. Now, one thing I would say about this, make sure you do this with a clean patch of land. Make sure you get the sensitivity, do the noise cancel, or get the sensitivity to how you want it, then do the noise cancel to get the best out of the noise cancel, if that makes sense. Ground balance, I just keep it on 0 most of the times. However, if I do come across heavily mineralized soil, I will then do a little ground balance to get the most out of it, and that's mineralized soil or your soil that's clay-like. However, most of the times in UK, you're pretty fine running with this ground balance. The auto tracking, I keep away from that because I believe from what I've read and what I've learned from other detectorists, it can miss signals by tracking. But yeah, that's from what the advice I've heard and read. Now, recovery speed, I normally have this on 5 or 6, but for this setting, I'm going to drop down to 4 just to get that little bit more depth, a little bit more depth to punch sort of through the ground a bit better. You will be losing a bit on the separation. However, the separation is still phenomenal on the recovery speed of 4. If you're on the field though and you find it a little bit too busy, then by all means up it to 5 or 6. But 4, you're going to get some pure depth with the 11-inch core, believe me. But remember to swing a little tiny bit slower so we know nothing's missed. Discrimination pattern, the first 4 is etched out to make sure we don't pick up any coke or the mineralized rocks and stuff like that. So leave that on factory settings. Ferrous limits then, go into it then, and then on preset, press the pencil. And all we're going to want to do here is just open up the Ferrous limits a little bit. So put the upper to 8, and then put the lower down to 4, which is already where I was on. So that will then, you're still gonna miss most of the non-ferrous targets, but you're not gonna be picking up a load of iron as well. So that's what we want to keep down on that sort of setting there. Ferrous volume. Excuse me. So with this, turn this down to 2. So we've opened up the iron bias a little bit. So this now will help us not hear too much of the iron chattering. So it's still going to be there. We're still going to be able to discriminate the iron, but this will help us better pick up the good targets as well. And then keep the ferrous pitch at default, and then stabilizer, keep at 1 and off. Now, if you're in a field full of like junk, then by all means turn this up. Like, it'll help you stabilize in amongst all the iron. It's a brilliant feature, but you do lose a bit of separation with it, so you might miss a target or 2, but you're not going to be digging up iron all day. 1 is a great starting point, and then if you want to like turn it down to 0 if the fields are super clean, like by all means crack on and go ahead with that. But for this, I'll stick on stabilizer of 1. Tones then, just go with default 5 tone. Now with this, you see all these fancy different settings, and they might work for some people, that's fine. But the 5 tone setup, especially if you're coming from one of the Equinox range, will do you just fine. It doesn't give any more performance by having it on or one reading tone. So these will pick up all the targets that you need. So yeah, it's just a really simple way of picking up all the targets. It's a brilliant setup, and you'll be fine with 5 tones. And it's really good at picking up the different ranges as well. Audio theme then, keep this at normal, don't touch the threshold or threshold pitch, and put down the profile to simple. All this does, it gives you a nice clean tone, but also more importantly, it's just a real sweet spot for clear, consistent. It lets you get to those deep coins. So simple, for example, if you put it onto rich, the tone would be sort of quieter for the deeper targets. You want to just be able to hear them all just as good as each other. So keep it on normal, simple, best of both worlds, happy days. Obviously go with multi-IQ plus. Why would you pay nearly £2,000 for a top end machine and then start treating it like one of the older machines and put in single frequencies? Get the machine to do all the work for you. Now, don't get me wrong, if you clean the fields and all you're interested in is deep silvers, then by all means, like, whack it onto another frequency, but it's got a setting on the preset down at the bottom, the high conductors, just banging on high conductors instead of taking the multi-frequency off, in my opinion. But you all know the detectors, the ground, so use whatever setup you like in that way. So general settings, really important. So yeah, English, leave to whatever language you want. Vibration off. Volume, lighting, I normally have with a diagonal bar, so it's auto tracking. But for this, so it doesn't blur the screen, I'll just have this on relatively low, and I have the keypad as well on the diagonal bar. But for this, I'll have relatively low. Flashlight I have off, head torch out when I'm detecting at night on my live streams. Soft key is really important one, guys. So I normally keep the favourites at the top right, obviously horseshoe bottom left, and then I take this off the accept reject, because you can start twiddling around with your cancelling stuff out and stuff if you press this button on accident. So I normally change that to noise cancel. That's one of the first thing you do out in the field, and that's that done in the bag. Ferrous limits, keep the numbers as default, grey with a red underline, so there's not too much going on the screen. And then reset, that's just, you can do that by press and hold the power button by 7 seconds as well. And then the rest of it is pretty much good to go. I mean, that's the settings, guys. That's the settings. This will give you optimum depth. So I've done a separate lesson on recovery speed and sensitivity. Now, sensitivity is what we haven't spoke about yet. Recovery speed and sensitivity are two of the most important things, like by a country mile. So you've got to get them right. If you're on a, even though these settings are set for recovery speed of 4, if there's a bit of iron in there or a bit of mineralization in the ground, recovery speed of 4 might not be what you want. It's not going to be good enough. So yeah, as previously mentioned. Now the next one is sensitivity. That's that number there. It's got a massive range of sensitivity on the Manticore. That's the extra power they were talking about. Now, in the red is running hot. So you've got to have super clean land. I've never really gone over 27 without it being a bit too disturbed, a bit too chattery. So I normally start on 24, and then if it's quite quiet, I don't mind a little bit of chattery noises in between. But if it gets to the point where you're going to miss the tones, then just turn it down one. If it's too quiet, turn it up one. Detect for another minute. It's quite quiet and you can get away with it, turn it up one. You want to be running it as hot as possible, but you also don't want to be running it too hot that you're going to be missing tones. That's really important. Yeah, so that is it in a nutshell. Any questions, like, please, like, bang them in the comments, and I'm super responsive. I'm not an expert, a professional, anything like that, but I do put a lot of hours into this hobby, and I've had a lot of great finds, and you can follow me on TikTok or on YouTube to see those finds. Yeah, awesome. So looking forward to hearing your feedback, and that's the settings. I'll close down this now for a quick summary, guys. Awesome. So yeah, thanks for watching this quick tutorial. Yeah, like, put them in, buy them in, and let me know how you get on with them. If you see any tweaks with them that you'd like to make, or any adjustments you think that are reasonable, like, buy them in by all means. But yeah, I think getting that, like, balance, keeping it simple, maximizing the machine, but also getting the most out of your depth is really important to get into those little deep targets that other detectors might miss, and improve the separation. So yeah, happy hunting everyone. Good luck.